Hello and welcome everyone to this week's Collective Imagination Show. Once again, Michael Monk is with us. Hi, Michael.
Hey there.
How you doing? How are you feeling? I mean, most of the audience will know that you've had an accident and an injury over recent weeks. Let
Mm.
everybody know how you're doing.
Yeah, it was on Christmas evening. I'm going down for a midnight snack barefoot. We got hardwood floors in the house, and apparently the dog had peed right by the refrigerator. My left foot slipped out, and my knee got twisted. And normally, I've got pretty good dexterity. I could have caught myself, but the pain of my knee twisting, I lost all balance, fell with my full weight on my left elbow, and cracked it in three places. So, I mean, truthfully, the last 2 weeks have been pretty miserable. I can do a lot with energy. I can't fix broken bones yet. Um, so I've opted for surgery. They're gonna put titanium plates. It's because the break happened like right on the elbow. It pays to have it done. That way, I can be guaranteed that the structure of the elbow will refix itself as it should. Like if I don't do the surgery, I run the risk of it healing slightly improperly and losing proper mobility of my arm for the rest of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on Thursday. I've learned a lot. It's everything is a blessing in disguise, even something like this. I always try to be grateful for everything in the moment, and I pretty damn good job of that. But one thing that I'd forgotten to be grateful for was my body, like what it actually means to have two mobile functioning arms. And now when this is all fixed, I will eternally be grateful for two functioning arms.
Yeah, that reminded me of talking to a girlfriend of mine who is overweight and got into a habit of despising her body, you
Mhm.
know, and but she's also incredibly active and able to do quite a bit. And she's had two kids, and I said, I got her to change her focus on how miraculous her body, in fact, is,
Mhm.
and put some gratitude and emphasis on the miracle that is childbirth and creating new life, and being grateful to her body for that. And a huge shift happened for her, and all the things that she gets to do. And as a result, she started losing weight and started feeling better about herself. So,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
being grateful for the miracle of our bodies is huge.
Oh, definitely.
So, moving on, past couple of weeks, um, at least in my little reality, there has been a huge shift. For me, it was kicked off in a public sense by the One People show that we did back on the December 30, where we talked about the New Age bullshit, as we called it, and looked at a lot of the isms and memes within the New Age and dissected them a little. And also as a result of various information that's come into my field over the last couple of months. The interview I did with John Lash, him talking about his Kalika War Party, looking at the information coming from Mark Passio and Natural Law. There's been a collection of things, even going back to the interviews I did with Lily Earth.
Hmm.
And what has sprung from that is I've been calling it that the sleeping inner human warrior is has awoken, and I really do see 2015 as being a year of action. You know, we've been lulled out of our everything is perfect, we don't have to do anything, just all let it all unfold passivity to, yeah, you know what, we're not going to take it anymore. So everything from, I mean, there are people absolutely who resonate with um, John Lash's concept of the Kalika War Party and being physically proactive and even to the point of physically eliminating. But that's not necessarily where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
Um, but the inner warrior has definitely sort of gone, yeah, you know what, now it's time to take action. So with this in mind, And honestly, this show has always been about that. It's always been about coming together as a collective and taking action and creating something positive. And I just wanted to take it up a notch.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not talking about targeting individuals and eliminating them or even just binding them. What I what I want to do, if and tell me, you and I haven't discussed this yet, so let's just play with it for a minute.
Sure.
I've thought about the different ways that we could do this, and I want to get feedback from the chat room, and we are open for callers as well. All the details are on the Watch Life page for the phone number to call in and the meeting ID number you need to have. So different ideas for how to go about this. Tuning into the planet itself and just supporting her and whatever her plan is. And now, but then again, when I thought about that, talking about that with you, this whole idea that she's our creation, and I wasn't sure how that would go down. But I personally believe that she does have her own consciousness and she has her own plan. And that we are a part of that plan. So to tune in with her and become more collaborative, really become her backup. That was one idea. Without even necessarily knowing what her plan is, just giving it as much support as possible. The other was you and I talked about this in I don't know if it was an interview or previous show, where every thought form has its own collective. Like white people have a collective, black people have a collective, racists have a collective. Every thought form within humanity has its own collective within the larger collective.
Yes, every single type of psychic, division, male, female, China, Russia, anything you can think of, bodybuilders, athletes, writers, every single psychological division is going to have that.
So could we look at tuning into one of these? It might be those of a military mindset, or the police, or the government, or bankers, or judges, or one of these structures, and then collectives, and infusing that with the frequency of love and transparency, and maybe it's in repurposing might be the word, in order to repurpose these structures so that they are, or they do, I was going to say return to, but I don't know if they ever were, become supportive of the planet, supportive of humanity, as opposed to destructive. And I'm interested to hear what your thoughts were on how we could go about it too.
Yeah, I mean, there's several different ways that it could be approached, and the primary thing is that we don't want to fight fire with fire. We want
Agreed.
to be the change that we want to see. The other important thing, is a little bit on that topic about the new age, how it sort of ignores what's there. It sort of goes hand in hand with what I teach at Avatar, at my energy school, as to why your average person can't just do telekinesis, can't do weather control and things like that. Because in order to change a thing or interact or move something, you have to be able to feel it as being a part of yourself. I always use this as an example. If you sit on your leg the wrong way and your leg goes numb, you stand up, you try to walk, you cannot move your leg, even though you know exactly how to walk and how to fire those leg muscles, because your sensory nerves no longer feel your leg. It's impossible to move it. So that being the case, by just ignoring, like, you can't just throw rainbows and fluffy bunnies at the darkness, because you're not connected to it. You're not making any impact, you're not making any change, because you're not able to feel that structure as being an extension of yourself, as a psychological extension. So in order, the first thing to understand is that in order for us to connect in and change these structures, we have to be willing to feel them as a part of the self. Now, the very unique thing about empathy that a lot of empaths haven't realized is that the link goes both ways. And because of this, to be an empath has sort of been a position of weakness. Like you feel everything. You can feel people mismanaging their thought energy. You can feel the negativity currently in the collective, and it makes you want to shrink or like stay at home, not go out in the public and stuff. But the miraculous thing that I've discovered through my training in energy mastery is that the link goes both ways. So once you are empathically hooked into something, all you have to do is change how you feel while you're connected to it, and the party, whichever party you're connected to with empathy, is going to receive that, the change. Once you realize that the link goes both ways, being an empath becomes a position of extreme power, of extreme empowerment. Um,
Again, I'm reminded of Harry Potter.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how often he comes up. The In the later films where he realizes that Voldemort can see into his mind and he can see into Voldemort's.
Hmm.
It's never just a one-way thing, and he has to train himself to block him for one, and to then be able to look in and not get lost in it.
Hmm.
So yeah, of course, energy always goes both ways, right?
Hmm. Yeah, so that's one thing. If we want to begin to change these psychological structures within the collective, which is what I suggest that we do. Now, the other way would be to project patterns outward that would stir people in the collective into taking physical action. Um, both would be effective, but what I'm
Wouldn't that
why I,
happen as a side effect anyway?
yes, yes, it would. Um, Definitely. I mean, this whole thing is going to have an impact in both directions, but I would be more, uh, the direction we want to take this show, where we want to lead people into the next stage of evolution, is planetary consciousness, like where we actually begin to experience collective consciousness, starting with the group soul mergers that we do here on the show. And then as we grow in our ability to tap in and connect to the collective, we begin to extend that outwards, to encompass more. So I do believe in the planetary consciousness, just that it's not something separated from ourselves whatsoever, and that it does definitely come from within. Every single thing we experience externally comes from within. And I know that not just from reading books, but from direct experience, and lots of it, to where I go into hyper accelerated states of consciousness where events, anything that happens in my external reality, transpires like a few seconds prior within myself. And then with my clairvoyance, I can actually see the waves of energy coming out of the source and forming the exterior event. I
Isn't
mean,
that couldn't that be perceived as sort of the chicken or the egg? Isn't, in the sense of, yeah, you could say that that's because it's coming from you, or that just your extrasensory perception is such that you see it coming
mhm,
slightly before it arrives.
mhm.
Couldn't it be both ways, or either
Well,
or?
it is both ways. And once it's projected out from the source, the things external do have a legitimate reality of their own. And then they process the information from the source and send energy waves back in. So the source, as a spherical consciousness, is projecting waves out to the parts of itself that give feedback back into the source. So both are happening simultaneously. It's just that I want to encourage more and more people to obtain source level consciousness, because it really helps you. Uh, it helps to accelerate our consciousness to a level that's beyond the physical reality, which I'm sure is the direction that most people want to head. But yeah, it's definitely valid. Anything that exists externally exists internally, so you can connect to it externally, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that when you do go within instead of without, you end up getting closer to the source, which means that you have more power to affect change, because the further in you, the closer in you get to the original source energy, the more compressed, the more compacted, the more potent it is. So yeah, it's both true simultaneously. That's how this entire universal construct is one of duality. And I know that's often stated, in negative ways or something to rise above, but I'm talking pure metaphysical duality, the as within, so without, as above, so below type of thing.
Okay. There's just diverting for a second. In the chat room is Linda, who I spoke to briefly yesterday. So if you can call in, Linda, that would be amazing. I want to hear your recent manifestation stories right now. And also want to put it out to the chat room because they're the ones who can answer us right now. And also, if you want to talk to us, please call in. How do you feel, talking to the audience right now, how do you feel about the idea of tapping into a collective, one that may be conceived as destructive or negative, knowing that we've got this two-way energy flow happening? I just wanted to see if that initially triggers fear in people. First and foremost.
On that note, I do want to add that the way that we're going to do this is a lot safer because of the type of consciousness that I obtained in the last 6 months, which is crystalline. So when I tap in and I go into these deeper states now, and I crystallize, I freeze, I lock my energy. So um, I'm not vibrating, or you could say that I'm vibrating so fast that there's no appearance of movement. So it's like when we expand into this, when I take us into the group energy that we're going to use to initiate this in the first place, we are going to be solidified into a crystalline structure, and nothing can change that. So, an example would be if you have a crystal and you shine a beam of light through it, you could shine that beam of light for hours and hours and hours, and it's not going to change the crystal. However, the crystal is going to immediately have an impact on the beam of light. It's going to change the beam of light. So when we use crystalline energy, which is the ultimate height of feminine power, you can pull anything into that. And if it's not in harmony with the crystal structure itself, it automatically gets burned or rewritten, purified, gets literally forced into that structure. So it's a way to use inward magnetism, or gravity, or love, the basic raw force of love, to enact change. But first, you have to be able to obtain that crystal state, or somebody within the soul group merger that we're doing, has to be holding that center in a crystalline place to make sure that there's no chance that our pattern can be changed. And that's pretty, much where I'm at. When I was in, the midst, the height of the craziness, about 6 months ago, um, I pretty much had to do that for my own survival, because I opened up completely to where I felt the entirety of the collective rage, the collective anger, and I had to be able to hold that and change that pattern within my core, or I would have been stuck there, because I was blown wide open, and there was no shutting down. It was either adapt or not.
So just before we went live, and you didn't get a chance to go into detail, you said you had a little bit of a download about how we could go about this with the feminine energy. Do you want to explain that to everybody?
Mhm. Well, as in terms of the energy that we use to get this done, we could do one of two things. We could project outward, which is masculine force. So that would be that we hold a specific pattern and begin to radiate that outward into the collective. Um, it would be effective. Masculine energy is very effective. Uh, it's just a little bit easier to resist. So it would depend more um, on the collective's response to what we're projecting. If we went that way, if we use the feminine force, which is the inward magnetism, the inward gravity, then that's literally going to pull this in. Um, this structure into ours. And if we're crystallized, if we're solidified to a higher degree than what we're pulling in, which we're going to be, because what we're pulling in is a lighter energy than what's in our core, then it's literally going to have no choice but to change. And the the big benefit to this is that at the same time we're going to be tapping into planetary consciousness. We're going to be accessing the Gaia within, the Sophia within, if you want to call it that. I just call it the divine inner feminine. But I'm open. I can do both simultaneously. I've mastered masculine and feminine energies. So
Well, the response in the chat room is let's go for it. I mean, it sounds a little scary, but also exciting to some. Um, Others just want to do it, no fear. Um, Feminine energy is sneaky, someone said. Pull it in ground. Yeah. Okay. Now I have to ask Biggie in the background, our wonderful techie guy. I have no idea if I play music on my computer if it'll run through the Zoom. I don't know if that's it should do. Okay. Thank you. Well, we'll find out, I guess.
yeah, I was curious about that too. Because I wasn't able to hear the meditation music last time once it played, but I've got both windows open now anyhow. So
Okay. So again, question to the audience. If we're going to do this by tuning into one of these collectives, is that what we've decided on, by the way? To tune into one of these collectives and sort of infuse it?
yeah, I think we should do one at a time, and see what kind of results we get during the week. Have the listeners and ourselves like pay attention to the media and just watch, because we're going to be influencing world events. Um, and if we see that it's making headway, maybe we should stick with one thing for a few weeks, before moving to another, really impact and enforce that. um, from the standpoint of the collectives that we're going to be influencing that way, they are just going to feel an overwhelming desire to see these changes happen. uh, at the same time, I'll be projecting both ways. So that's what I'm getting that we should do. The listeners in the audience may be more oriented towards outwards than inwards. And if you are, then that's fine. Project outward to the collective. If you're more oriented inwards to the feminine method, then do that. And I'll be doing both simultaneously. Um, but as far as the drawing in, having fear about that, I mean, don't worry about that, because the soul group that we're forming, I'm going to be holding the center point of that, and I'm going to be crystallized with rose quartz. So, um,
Someone has also asked too in the chat room if they've got crystals at home,
mhm.
would it assist to go and grab them?
Yes,
And
it
if
would.
so, what kind? The rose quartz or
Any type of quartz, it would be handy if you're using the same exact that I am. So if you do have rose quartz, that's great. Um, Crystals are more effective used in pairs. So if you do have it available, then have two crystals of the same type and as close to shape as possible. Like I've got two rose quartz wands, and you put one in your left hand and one in your right hand. And what you do is you equalize the hemispheres between the crystals. So you sort of you got to change as you develop in this energy and understanding the mobility of consciousness, that the entire structure of your body is your mind, your consciousness. Same thing with anything that you're perceiving or anything that you're holding. So I've got this in right hand, I'll have this in the left hand. This one becomes right brain, this one becomes left brain. So you literally take the two hemispheres of your mind and put them into the crystals and balance it. So you take the summary of your mental presence and you just transplant that into your hands where it's holding the crystal. And you'll know that you've got it balanced right, because they're going to spring to life magnetically. Like all of a sudden, it's just going to feel like the crystals become living, breathing entities. And that's how you know you've got a solid amount of your consciousness in there. If you've just got one crystal, that's fine too. If you're using just one, then I would suggest holding it up here in your fist and by your high heart, because the high heart is the strongest point of inward magnetism on the human body.
Okay. Looking for suggestions in the chat room. We do have one, which would be media. I mean, there's a very long list. Sorry, let's close that. I mean, there's the military, there's the media, there's the police force, there's the courts, there's the financial system, the judicial system, pharmaceutical system, the healthcare system, education. There's issues like pedophilia. I don't know, the list goes on. Banking. Someone would like to try one that doesn't bite back. We need to shake up the masses to wake up the paycheck. Financial. Oh, to wake up by their paycheck. Okay.
Yeah, it seems the two that people are
Well,
leaning towards is banking and media. So,
yeah.
whichever one we want to start with, we can get to the one that we don't start with, next. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. We're
Well,
going to be at this for a while. So,
so I guess if we focus on truth in media, then yes, there will be a follow-on effect, a bit of a domino effect, because it'll mean they'll be hopefully sharing the truth in all of those areas.
mhm. Yeah, and this isn't the type of thing where there's bite back from guys. I mean, I go into these states spontaneously all the time when I put this body to sleep. The planetary consciousness, it's like I become like a giant head that's the planet, and then all of the divided factions within mankind, all the different countries, groups like Illuminati, the blacks, the whites, so on and so forth. They become uh, like parts of my mind, and then what I do when I'm in this state is I use a harmony. Like it's sort of like the mass consciousness state of the planetary consciousness on Earth is like a giant head that's gone insane with schizophrenia. So it's like all these parts arguing back and forth with each other, even though they're all one giant head and supposed to be working in harmony. So when we do this, we're um, don't view it like that we are targeting something external from ourselves. We are really just acknowledging who and what we really are here on planet Earth, which is one giant mind and soul. We are one singular organism. So what we're doing is just letting go more of the ego, becoming more of the planetary consciousness, and then applying a cohesion to that. Using our energy and our force to cause harmony to accelerate to as we target these specific parts and pull them into the crystalline structure, or project outwards with the masculine radiance. It's just us fixing a part of our own self. So don't even think in terms of uh, like targeting or being targeted. This is just us healing ourselves, pretty much.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, if we're ready to do this, we'll focus on media. I'll get some music happening. Sorry about that. Motorbike going
Okay.
past.
Yeah, I just want to explain a little bit for people that might be new to the show or forget what I explained last time, or what makes all of this possible. So,
Yep.
time and space are basically illusions. I don't really like the term illusion though, because it means not real. Time and space is very much real, but they are constructs. They are mental fabrications. The way it works is we are consciousness and we are in a standing wave of vibration. So it's like a harp with a single string that's infinitely vibrating if you want to view it two-dimensionally, or it's like a pulsating sphere if you're going to view it three-dimensionally. And we are the entire sphere. The actual shape and size of this entire thing, if you want to apply physicality to it, is about the size of the electromagnetic field of the heart. Within this singular sphere of vibration is an infinite range, variance of vibration. Now, what our physical bodies do to give us this type of experience that we have is it decodes slight variances in the vibration and paints a picture of space and time to our mind. So a very slight difference in vibration tells Lisa that she's on her couch there in Australia, and tells me that I'm here in my room in Florida, and that you guys are wherever you are. But the pure metaphysical truth is that we are right on top of each other. My body is within your body. Your body is within my body. This air that I'm breathing is overlapped with the air that you're breathing, so on and so forth. So the universe really isn't that big. It's the size of about the electromagnetic field of the heart, precisely. Um, it appears big because of our sensory mechanisms. Like we look through with our eyes, and these are just perceptors. The eyes are like telescopes in a way. When we walk, when we move, when we travel through our universe, we are really just shifting. Walking itself is a series of psychological gestures that change the landscape around us. All of reality is indeed a projection from within. So basically, what I do to obtain to help us all hook in and become a group soul is I expand my conscious presence past the neuron structures and the nerve fibers of the body and completely into the electromagnetic field of the heart. Once I do that, I am able to feel you guys as a part of myself, like an overlap to my structure. So I can feel my body, I can feel your bodies as like a secondary overlap. And I expand presence out into the air, and I use magnetism or love or gravity to help encourage more of you guys to share space. And the more that come in, the I that's doing this ceases, and it starts to become the we that is doing this. And once you guys tap in, you will feel it as each new individual successfully taps in and merges with the group soul, because the amount of power that we wield vastly increases. It's like putting two flames together. Like if you light two lighters and you put two flames together, let's say one of those flames was really small, one was really big. Well, once they merge, they become one flame of a much greater size, and it no longer matters which one was smaller to begin with because they are one. So what I'm saying is that each one of us that taps in this way, we gain more energy, more power, more presence, and it's not. Well, there's just no ego in the place. The I disappears and becomes we, and the we is much stronger than the I ever was. Um, what you have to do to receive more of this is just be willing to let go, because you will feel something. You will feel the presence, and the more you're able to let go of your concept of being a separated individual that's disconnected from the rest of the collective, the more you're able to let go of that and accept that we are in overlap right now, and that it's just an ego illusion that allows us to perceive that we're not. This is going to open up the doors for you to tap in and really access this. You'll know that you're hooking into a large degree when you start to feel cooling energies going through you. Because I'm going to be using the peak of feminine energy, which is crystal. When I do this, my structure begins to radiate like air conditioning all through the body. Um, Sometimes I get to a point where my body temperature drops significantly, but it feels blissful, clean, radiant. It's not cold the way we know it from within the physical body. It'll feel cooling, like radiant ice. It feels like Eden. It feels like bliss. It feels like heaven. It feels like home. And once we obtain that, um, for me, I can do it within a matter of seconds usually, and then I'll feel each one of you guys that join in because the size and the structure of the crystal soul that we form gets significantly bigger. But once we're tapped in, then I'm going to reach out and find the collective, that we're going to pull into this and use the inward magnetism and draw it in. Now, a lot of you might experience heat when I do that, because anything that's out of tune with our crystallized pattern as we pull it in is either going to have to willingly submit and change in order to merge cleanly. If there's any bit of a fight, then it causes heat, as that opposing pattern causes friction with the pattern that we are holding. But the heat will quickly dissipate. Just ignore it as it happens and keep to the cooling, keep to the drawing in, keep to feeling love and bliss and harmony and feminine, the type of energies that I described already, and that heat will quickly burn off. And that's how we'll know that we've gotten it in and began to crystallize it. Each time we do this, it's going to have an impact. Um, Everything has an absolute free will within this broken psychic structures within the human collective. So once we do release it, it is going to go back somewhat to its original pattern, but we will make a change. It will make a dent in that pattern. And the more we do it, the more that change will become apparent. Um, like I said, at the same time, I'm going to be radiating masculine energy outward to the collective to take action in this regard. So whichever way you're oriented, that's fine. They both happen simultaneously anyhow, because our soul, our core is male and female at the same time. The heart is constantly radiating energy with every beat, going boom, boom, boom. As you crystallize and draw in with feminine energy and solidify your structure, you squeeze your heartbeat, which vastly amplifies it. So whether you're tuned more to the feminine or to the masculine, they're both happening simultaneously anyhow. So that's all I have to say on that. We can get started whenever anybody's ready. Just when you begin to feel the group soul, let go of yourself and become the group soul more and more. So my flesh will be inside of your flesh. We will be sharing blood. We'll be sharing bone. We'll be sharing air that we breathe. The whole bit. And just the more you can let your ego be comfortable with that, the more you will tap in. The more you'll be a part of it.
What about visualization? Are you going to talk us through anything, or just allow everyone to just see what comes to them?
Um, I would say it would be better not to do that on this one. It would be better just to for us to have a solid agreement on what we're going to hold in the first place, because we're really going to be working at a deeper level than sound and sight. Sound and sight are a lighter vibration than emotion and feeling. So we're going to be working at a level that's beneath all of that. So what I would say to people is don't visualize, but stay open in your mind and vision will come to you. That is good, and that'll give us some feedback on what we're obtaining. But if you are using your mind to visualize, you're going to be pulling yourself out of the greater power, which is in the heart and in the emotional structure in the core of the body. So it's okay if vision comes to you, but if you are using your consciousness to visualize, then you're going to be taking yourself into a lesser energy. So I don't recommend that.
So just focus on the emotions and the feelings of love.
At love and purity and truth. I mean, which one did we decide we're doing?
Media.
Media. Okay. Then love is the force that we're going to be using to draw it in. Love is attraction. Love is the base force that causes one particle of consciousness to be closer to another particle of consciousness. So love is the basic raw force that we're going to be using to draw the media collective into ourselves. And then truth is the pattern, the feeling that we're going to want to hold. Truth and integrity. Um, like I said, we don't want to visualize color, but blue is often associated with that. So if you do see a lot of blue, don't be surprised. But So yeah, love is the force that we're going to be using to actually pull it in, and then the force that we're going to be using to change it is truth and integrity.
Nice. Okay. Everybody ready? Get your crystals ready. And let's play some music. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear anything yet?
Not yet, but there's lag time, I believe, right?
You should be hearing it by now if you're going to.
Um,
No, it's not being heard. Okay. All right. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to play music. I'll figure that out for next week.
okay, no worries. I can talk through it. So,
Okay.
yep. Okay, people. Take your head. You feel your head. You feel your heart. So obviously, mind is present in both places. So just take what presence you have in your head and drop it down into your heart. You can use a visualization like your heart is a frying pan and your head is butter. So close your eyes and just start to feel your head dripping like a vast force, like your heart is a black hole sucking everything in, pulling that tiny little head down into the big head, which is the heart. Okay, good. My chest is swelling big time and not just with my energy. So there's a few of you that have already connected really strong. And the heater's on my house and I'm already feeling the air conditioning running through my body. So this is good. Okay. Now I'm going to expand presence out into the air. So you'll start to feel me in the air around. You'll feel the difference between my presence and yours. Once you can consciously feel that difference, you can just make a bridge between the two and make it one. Okay, good. And you can see that how much stronger we are together. I mean, it's exponential. Now I've got my breath expanded through our body because we are now one. So I'm going to breathe cooling energies through our body and expand our body into our air and make the two as one. Okay, now you can feel that really strong inward force. And this is great. I mean, you guys are already doing what I'm telling you to do before I even say it, but I'll say it anyhow. Allow that force to compress, to contract. You can feel that it naturally wants to smash in on itself. Let it do it. Just let the whole universe around you, like it's all just one giant black hole, just smashing in on itself with a supreme love force. So much inward magnetism that nothing can resist it. Everything from beneath becomes rushing up, everything from above comes rushing down, everything outward just comes smashing in, and you just let it and hold it. Okay, now I'm going to start rocking to the left and to the right to make my presence a little more apparent. So you'll feel that moving through your own body. Now back and forth. This is just to let you know that we're together. And now I'm going to relax completely the I, the Michael Monk, and fuse it completely into the we. For those of you that are listening to the recording, don't be concerned that that you're not in time sync with us because the energy we're accessing is completely outside of time. It does not matter if you're listening to this 5 years from now, it's just as effective. Okay, now while maintaining our central core connection in the solidity, these solid cooling energies, we're going to expand our sphere outwards, begin to just grow it like the whole thing is one giant head. And we're going to start to expand it outwards to encompass the media. So you can think of the various organizations if that helps you tap into it. Okay, you can already tell as we're opening up and doing this that we're pulling in things that are out of harmony with our group pattern because it's causing heat. That's good. That means we've drawn it in with the love. Now we just need to hold it strong enough to where we maintain our solidity. Whoa, yuck. Just keep holding, keep freezing, hold your crystals, keep the crystals in empathy with the energy field all around you. Okay, we'll open up again, but let's just take what we've grabbed so far and hold it until we're purified and back into our harmony. You can feel everything cooling down again, getting more harmonious and blissful. That was a pretty good chunk. I mean, that was a decent sized chunk that we drew in, and it's now corrected, changed. So let's just balance and center into our own power within this a little bit more before we reach back out and do more. Go back into the inward force and just allow it to collapse and compress in on itself even more. Okay, everybody make sure their spines are nice and straight. Stick your chest out, puff it out, make your back all nice and straight. So I can feel a kink in a few of our spinal energies. Okay, good. Particularly the solar plexus, I feel a few that you really need to just stick your chest out almost like you're strutting like a rooster or something. And then allow your spinal energies to compress in on themselves. Take that heavy feeling of what it's like to have a back. Backs hurt, they're heavy, they're achy. But if you put consciousness into that heavy feeling and allow it to compress in on itself, then it becomes a solid rod of pure magnetic energy. All right, good. Okay, now let's reach out one more time. Just tap into what you know of the media, various organizations, various figures, faces. Open, open, open. Okay, now snatch and pull it into center. Open up with the vast gravity of empty space. Void, black hole, pull it, seal it, lock it, provide it no avenue for escape. It'll fight and it'll struggle for a little bit, but there's just no way it can win. There's no beating gravity. The only mistake we could make here is to let it go, to let it retreat, and we won't hold it. Okay, now purify within ourselves a sense of truth and integrity. And remember that we cannot affect this change unless we are going to live it ourselves. So I'm going to ask every participating listener to not be willing to utter an untruth again from this day forward. If you truly want to live in a transparent collective of truth and honesty and integrity, it's not possible unless you do it yourself. So do not be willing to even utter a white lie to a stranger. Commit yourself to total truth in all of your situations and integrity, always doing what you feel in your heart to be best for yourself and the whole at the same time. Start to relax your headspace and take what we've formed into the heart and allow it to repattern and rewrite any small fragments of the ego that are clinging to old patterns. Forgive yourself entirely for any time in your life when you've operated in anything less than truth and integrity, and just allow those little small fragments of the ego to dissolve into the heart space that we've formed. You'll know you got it when your head feels all cool and icy. Like right now, my eyeballs are like radiating frosty air. It's beautiful. Okay, now I'm just going to bathe our entire structure in a mixture of blue and white light until we just feel pure, clean, cool, radiant, blissful. So it's like a radiant outward light, but it cools everything down instead of heating things up. Okay. We're good, Lisa, if you want to come back on. Lisa, if you're trying to talk, you're muted. Lisa, are you there? Okay, guys, I don't know what happened to Lisa, but we can just keep breathing and being. I mean, that's a lovely energy to be in. How did you guys feel through all of that? Can you give me some feedback? Thanks, Linda. I agree. It was awesome. Cooling energy is just my favorite. Yeah, probably, Maggie. That definitely can happen.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just lost sound for last minute. I really like that you talking us through it as opposed to playing music, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we can do a little bit of both. Like maybe there's some songs that are really powerful for this that were manifested through the collective. There's a song called "Crystallize" by Lindsey Sterling, a lady who mixes violin with dubstep, and this song was divine. Like it was made for doing this type of energy, and I would like to incorporate that. But we could start out with the coaching, until we form the group energy, and then we could just press play and take it, to the next level. So. Um,
I will. Can you send me through some of that so I can get it organized and get it on my
Yeah,
speaker?
yeah, we'll get together this week or tomorrow and make sure we've got all our ducks in a row. So Linda from the chat room says it's hot and humid here, but I am cool. Yeah, it's awesome. We got the heater going here, but it's air conditioning. Like you can affect, so much. Like so much is possible with energy once you tap in. And the great thing about the group energy being open is, well, for one, it's the only way to form a collective consciousness is to open up and start being it. But for two, I've developed for years and years and years in energy. It's my entire life, and you guys can reap the benefit from that simply by realizing that you're one with me. And then all of a sudden, all of the energy level that I've obtained becomes yours too, like equally. It's just as much your energy to use as mine. And in fact, when you tap into it, it grows into something bigger. So it's like, hell yeah. All of the abilities that I've learned, projection, multidimensionality, weather control, telekinetics, healing, they rub off. They start to become yours. Any abilities that you guys have learned, with energy or with life in general, we begin to share heart and head space. So that's what it's about. And I want to explain, once again about there's a lot, like humanity has been a separated, individuated, ego-based species of consciousness for so long that there's naturally going to be some fears as we open up, into collective. The first thing I want to let people know is we are not in any way going to be a hive mind. That would be the opposite of evolution. Hive mind would be that we surrender completely to a collective mind and allow it to dictate our every movement, our every speech, and that is not at all where we're going. It's not even where we're geared to go. Even if we wanted to, it wouldn't work. Um, what we're moving into is being aware of a group mind that complements our individual mind. So we are so centered and anchored in separation and individuality that it's just naturally going to be that way. So you don't really have to worry about it. You'll notice that when you guys opened up and felt me, you felt me really strong, but I was like an overlap to yourself. Like your own body, your own energy, your own presence is always going to be your primary feeling. And when we tap in to the group soul that we're forming, and when we tap into the various portions of the collective, they appear as an overlap to us. So, in the prime future, once humanity has obtained a collective consciousness, what it's going to be like is about 67% of our awareness and our focus will be on ourself, on our individuality, and about 33% will be focused in the group mind. When we obtain this, it's going to be the new form of government. We're not going to need leaders anymore. Everyone will be aware of the mass mind and naturally will not desire to do anything that's out of harmony, something that would not be harmonious with the whole. So that's all on that.
Just a couple of things. The rocking sensation.
Hmm. Oh, when I started swaying.
Yeah, I got that before you said it,
Yeah.
and I started swaying, and then you said it, and then I felt the direction change just a
Hmm.
fraction before you said it.
Yep.
And also, Linda in the chat room said that she got mesmerized by the contacts flashing on the globe and united with them all before we started, which is a great visualization tool.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah, it
a
is actually.
I actually can't see it. I have closed down the window enough to, but yeah, you can see where people are, how many there are
Oh, that's
that are on the
great.
on this page at the right now. So,
Yeah, I see that.
and people could be watching from this website or from the CCN website live. Apparently, there's over 140 of you at the moment, I think, that just participated in that.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the feedback now, and I appreciate the feedback, guys. Uh, yeah, thank you, Stavros, for that feedback, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Yeah, the trembling in the eyes, that's just your circuitry in your eyes isn't used to that level of energy. I was taking you into crystalline eyes. Like when I do this, my eyes literally radiate frosty energy. Um, I call it crystal tears, that energy, because it's the same energy that we access when we cry, like when we shed tears, like bliss tears, except that because my energy density goes thicker than physical reality, I don't shed water, but crystalline energy tears fall like a constant stream out of my eyes when I do that, and it's beautiful. But as you connect in more, the circuitry in your eyes is going to grow in and adapt to that, and it'll help you reach that level. Um, Yeah, and when you said the energy suddenly calmed down into a super smooth feeling and it continued like that till the end. Yep. That's with crystallization. Crystallization is an eternal energy. The as consciousness we have two eternal states. Anything in vibration is not eternal. All vibration fades. One eternal place that we have is the void, which is nothingness, empty space. That is one eternal place where we dwell. What we are working towards as a soul is obtaining an eternal presence within a space-time structure, within vibration itself. And that's what crystallization is. That's a frozen light, solidified light. um, so that's what we're working towards with these meditations, and everything is helping you guys become more apparent of that. But the negative portions of the self, we all have demons, if you want to call them that. And they're a part of the self. They're our own negative thought forms that we've received in this life and others, that we've idea imaged about our own self, or that other people have projected onto us. These parts of our self are incapable of crystallization, because a crystallization is a full self realization, and anything that's out of balance or out of harmony is going to get burned off. So at first, a lot of you guys will be feeling a lot of heat as we go into this, but you'll notice, like you did already, that eventually it backed off and you began to feel the cooling energies. After a few weeks of doing mergers, you're going to go deeper and deeper into it, and eventually you won't heat up. Now, I'm sure you guys noticed that as soon as we connected beyond our own group soul, as soon as we hooked into the media, like we all started heating up. And that's, because we pulled in a pattern that was out of harmony with us. Um, but you'll notice, like, what won? Did the fire win or did the gravity win? Did the love win or did the fire win? I mean, the love won. It wins every single time. It's an irresistible force. Its power is supreme. You just got to hold it and not give in. Not be willing to budge, not be willing to sway. Another comment says, from Andresi, my spine just froze and I'm sitting in front of a fire.
There's a
Awesome.
question there too. All vibration fades. Please explain.
It's anything that's vibrating is going to fade. Like if you sing, if you pronounce a tone, it's it diminishes unless you keep singing. If you pluck a string on a guitar, eventually it goes back to neutral. Any vibration that's projected has a peak point, and then it begins to diminish from there. There's different, waves of that. The reason why this reality keeps continuing is that from the source, it's fed a continuous stream of vibration. Um, what crystallization is an eternal vibration. It's frozen, it's locked. It's like a solidified pattern. It's pretty much the opposite of the void.
Okay, if we're going to do these things early in the or around the 1 hour mark, I don't see us going for 2 hours because I always end up with needing a nap.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, we don't have to do an exact 2 hours every time. We can just go with the flow.
But I'd love it if some of you could call in. I want to.
Yeah,
I
please
miss
do
that
that, guys. I
interaction.
mean, those of you guys that are real serious about this and want to be a strong pillar within this, we'd like to hear from you. Um,
The call in number should be running on the screen, I think. Yes, it's on the screen if you're watching. It's a US number, so 01 if you're outside the US, 415 762 9988. You'll be asked for a meeting ID number, which is 677 937 8462.
I mean, the feedback in the chat is very profound. So, I mean, guys, you saw how much more powerful we were together than we are apart. So imagine all the listeners that are going to be listening to the recording, and if they can't see the chat, they can't see these profound results, and if they have you guys to voice it from the call in, that's going to get a lot more people interested, and it's going to get the momentum going strongly. So I highly encourage call-ins, and this is our thing. This is a collective. Lisa and I are hosting it, but that doesn't make it ours. This is a group thing, absolutely.
So, also, our job for the next week really is to be mindful, be aware of what you see in the media.
Hmm. Yep.
I do recall us doing something like this before when it came to media, and what we saw were a couple of breakdowns, literally, like people had meltdowns and blurted out truth. um, and then went, oops, I didn't say that, did I? So if you see any of those, we might get whistleblowers. We might get, who knows what we'll get.
Hmm. You'll get some stuff. I mean, it was profound. Like everybody noticed when we first connected in and drew in the media collective that we all heated up, and it took us a good minute or two of holding it, not letting it go, you know staying firm in our love, in our inward gravity, in our feminine power, and forcing it to conform to what we're
Mm-hmm.
patterning. The second time we reached out, there wasn't much heat, was there?
No.
Um, no, I will say that that media collective was a little bit more prepped on the second one, and sort of retracted itself, which was partially why there was less heat. But regardless, you could massively tell the difference between the first time we drew in and the second time.
Yeah, definitely. So we still do have a collective imagination Facebook page. That's for those of you who are on Facebook. We haven't used it much, really, since I guess Michael and I were doing these shows. No, we did use it for a while after that with Chris and what have you. But it's still there. So I think that's a great place so that it doesn't get lost in amongst all of the other One Network information on the One Network Facebook page. So if you don't already, go and like that page, the Collective Imagination Facebook page.
I'll post
And
that into the chat room.
okay, cool.
And Lisa, a caller just said they tried to call in, but it tried to ask for money.
What?
What's up with that?
I didn't. No, that shouldn't have happened.
It said, or what did they say? I am trying to call. The first number wanted dollars.
That's really weird. Or how are you calling? On your phone or Skype? Or if you're doing it on Skype, it might be Skype wanted money. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, since we've gone live, there's been a few call-ins on different shows, and that hasn't happened before.
Okay.
I just tried second number and said it needed to be paid call as well. Dollars for out of
Okay.
the US. Oh, if you're out of the US, you're paying. Well, try with your Skype then. That wasn't Skype. I don't know.
What does that mean? U.S. toll ID? Like, do
I
you have
guess it
to?
means if you're calling outside of the US, then you're paying for a toll to call the US.
Okay.
But if you're using your Skype, it shouldn't.
Hmm. Yeah, they say they're using Skype, so
The
I don't know. I
Blue's
know.
in the States. Yeah, Blue's actually in the States and using Skype. So that is odd. And I've called in as well and didn't get it. Skype wants money if you're outside the US. Yeah, Skype that wants money. Okay.
Yeah, I think they even want money for you to call within the U.S. Unless it's Skype to Skype, then it's free. Oh yeah, I was gonna post the. Okay, guys, I'll post the collective imagination page in the chat, and
And Biggie in the background is saying that he's been using it for 1.5 years and he's not had that before either.
okay.
So I don't know what that's about. That's really, really interesting in and of itself. So if you whatever stories you come across, whatever you see in the mainstream media, post it in that Facebook page, in that Facebook group. Can you also put them in the Zoom, the link in the Zoom chat, Vicky?
Yeah, it was entirely a Skype thing. They got a message. You need Skype credit to call this number. Yeah, Skype needs you to have like they make money that way. If you're gonna actually call a physical phone, then Skype always charges. So yeah, the call-in numbers for those listening will not charge you money. It was just a Skype thing.
Okay. Nap time.
Yeah, and Lisa and I will work together this week because if we do get some strong music, like we can really ramp that up. I do appreciate that you guys like the voice guidance to help us tap into the group soul connection. So we will start with that. But there's some songs that I use that are really powerful, and I don't mean like theta meditation. I mean like just straight kick-ass music, and that enables us to really just grip deep. Like once we've locked into each other and got that group energy playing the right music, like you guys just wait. You thought this one was powerful. Wait till next week and wait till my arm feels a little bit better. I'm a little bit, so
Well,
congratulations, guys. You've
that's
received
another
really
point, though.
well. And what's that, Lisa?
There was comments in the chat room earlier about people wanting to help heal your arm.
Mm. Yeah. If you guys felt guided to do that when you connected in, then thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I teach energy through my website at avatarenergymaster.com. If any of you guys want to check that out, I'll let you guys. I'll just announce that like once per show. So if any of you guys want to look at my work, the website is avatarenergymaster.com or avatarenergymastery.com. But I do weekly webinars, live web seminars with the students. And as I was proposing, like some of the students wanted to help me heal my arm, the internet just blanked out, like wouldn't, the internet cut off, and and that was the only time it cut off, and things happen for a reason. So I took that as a part of, the heart flow, like saying, my magnetism is so damn strong. I would just wouldn't want to rub off anything on other people. But if your own heart, guided you to help me there, then I thank and appreciate that. But the information I received was to, not ask people to do that. But thank you.
And Linda, the ID number is there. It's on the screen. It's the 677-937-8462. It's running on the live stream. You can see the phone numbers, and then it says US toll, and then it actually says ID. So it might look like it's part of the phone numbers, but it's not. Sending love to your arm. Yeah, there are people who are doing that.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You thought that was the phone number. Yeah. Okay. What else was there? Oh, there was something else I was going to say. It's gone. See, I'm in La La Land now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting messages from all over the place. Yeah, okay. All right, great. Now, just to let you know, when we're not broadcasting live, on this live page, I replace the live stream with a playlist, and it's just called the One Network's Favorites. So if you're ever in a mood to just go and watch something, we've got a list, a pretty comprehensive and really cool list of documentaries, short 2 or 3 minute snippets. There's a whole bunch of things. So there might be stuff that you haven't seen before. So when you go to the player, you'll see it says playlist in the top left-hand corner. If you click on that, you get a drop-down menu. It'll show you everything that's in the playlist. And you can just watch something. And that'll be there when we're not live streaming. So just to let you know that. Okay, what else is there? That's it. All right, so if you want to, for next week or for any of the other shows, throw a couple of dollars of credit into your Skype account for those of you who are outside the US so that you can call in. It's still the cheapest way to make a phone call. And Lisa, when the show first started, I tried several times getting in using the Listen Live link, and I got a 404 error page. The link from where? Okay. This show is on at this time. It's midday on Wednesdays for me. Oh, it looks like we have a caller. And if you go to the website, you'll always see a calendar on the right in the right-hand column. Click on the show that you want. It will take you to a new page. Hi, one moment. I'll be with you in just a second. Just going to mute you for a sec. And it will give you, there's a time zone converter on there, and it will give you the show in your time, according to whatever your computer is telling you the time is. And you can do that for all the shows. Okay, we do have a caller. And who have we got? Hello. We have a caller? Hello. You called into the show? Hello.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a delay. It's Linda. I just wanted to see if the phone would work.
Oh, is that
Otherwise,
Linda?
Yeah.
Hi,
it
Dolly.
works. It puts you right into the group, so it's not a queue. So that's why you got the hi blasted in your face.
Yeah,
but anyway, it was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us know and for proving that the system works.
Yes.
Oh, well. Now I'm getting feedback from the computer. So I just want to make sure it worked for everybody. So it works from a landline with that code. Okay.
Thank you, Linda. very much.
Okay, thank you. It was great.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And share it up. Okay. Awesome. All right, so it does work. Good to know. Okay, so I had those error messages too. Took me 10 minutes to get in. Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do about fixing that up tomorrow for next week.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael. That was quite an experience. Looking forward to seeing what comes up and out and into the open over the next week.
Me too.
And I'll keep an eye on the Collective Imagination Facebook page and see what you guys are posting in there. So bye for now. And we'll see you for what's next. Wendy Adams, Inner Circle, my time, Friday. She's actually having me on as her guest. So if you want to tune into a conversation between Wendy and myself, please do that on Friday, my time, Thursday night in the States. And Michael, I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye, Lisa. Thanks for having me, and appreciation to everybody that participated. And thanks for the feedback in the chat. Have a great week, everybody. Blessings.
Have a wonderful week. Bye for now.